Right now on Good Morning America, first look, Election Day is here. The key races to watch and a big endorsement from President Trump in the New York City mayor's race. But is it really an endorsement?
The government shutdown today, tying for the longest in U.S. history. Families running out of government food assistance now face a new challenge. And at the airports, security lines getting even longer. The new hope for a compromise.
A party at this $1 million Airbnb turns into a mass shooting.
The address of the emergency.
The calls for help and how Airbnb is now responding to questions about safety.
New details about the alleged ISIS-inspired Halloween terror plot. The businesses the suspects are accused of targeting.
Crews work for 11 hours to rescue a worker trapped in this building collapse in Rome.
Business news, the announcement about the future of Denny's.
New overnight, People magazine announces its sexiest man of the year.
And former President Bush's viral moment on Monday Night Football, sizing up one of the players.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America, First Look.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay.
I'm Mola Lengi. Today is Election Day, and from New York to California, voters are headed to the polls with so much at stake, from the economy to crime to redrawing congressional maps.
Perhaps the highest profile race is here in New York City, and now President Trump is stepping up his involvement. ABC's Lionel Moise begins our coverage.
Overnight, new reaction to President Trump throwing his support behind former Governor Andrew Cuomo in New York City's mayoral race. Cuomo denying it's an endorsement.
President Trump doesn't support me. He opposes Mamdani, right? He believes that Mamdani is an existential threat to New York. He believes he's a communist. He believes he'll bankrupt New York.
Frontrunner Zohran Mamdani, who describes himself as a democratic socialist, has seen his lead shrink in recent polls. Trump is threatening to cut federal funding to New York if Mamdani wins, posting, "Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him and hope he does a fantastic job. He is capable of it. Mamdani is not."
The MAGA movement's embrace of Andrew Cuomo is reflective of Donald Trump's understanding that this would be the best mayor for him. Not the best mayor for New York City. They share the same donors. They share the same small vision. They share the same sense of impunity.
Mamdani is campaigning on issues like freezing rents, making city buses free, and creating a Department of Community Safety to tackle mental health, while Cuomo wants to hire more police officers and has touted his experience in building affordable housing. It's a city race with national implications.
This is the first big test of Americans' mood politically after the re-election of Donald Trump last year. And so there are a lot of folks who are going to be looking at these races as a referendum on this current administration and this current president.
President Trump also seeking to influence two other races in blue states.
The entire country is watching New Jersey.
In the New Jersey governor's race, former Navy pilot Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill facing off against businessman Jack Ciattarelli, who is backed by Trump.
I'm angry that the cost of everything is going up for really no reason other than to line the president's pockets.
Ciattarelli vowing to downsize government to reduce taxes. And in Virginia, polls show Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears trailing former Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger.
Don't believe those lying polls. You know why? Because they're trying to deflate us.
We need a governor with a plan to see us through this time of chaos and challenge.
Trump claiming that voting for Democrats will lead to higher energy costs. But in these blue state races, the big question is, how much sway does Trump have right now?
I think that you can't underestimate anti-Trump sentiment in some of these races. That's a mobilizing factor, not only in Virginia and New Jersey, but it's also probably a part of why we've seen the rise of a candidate like Zohran Mamdani, right, who is sort of the antithesis of Trump in many ways.
In New York's mayoral race, early voting set an all-time record, and analysts say that race and the two governor's races may provide a roadmap for Democrats as they plot their strategy for next year's midterm elections. Sophie, Mola.
Count on ABC News for live election night coverage, streaming on ABC News Live and the ABC News app.
Now to the crisis over food assistance running out for 40 million Americans because of the government shutdown. Now, the White House now says it'll use emergency funds to cover some of those benefits, but there could be long delays before the money reaches the families who need it. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the details. Nicole, good morning.
Well, Mola, good morning. It's day 35 of the government shutdown, and while there are reports of some bipartisan talks aimed at ending the impasse, it's little solace for people depending on that food assistance to pay for groceries. This morning, as the government shutdown now ties for the longest in American history at 35 days, the Trump administration says it will use emergency funds to cover SNAP benefits. But the $4.5 billion in reserves is only enough to cover about half a month's worth of payouts, and it could take weeks or even months for states to hand out the money. Some families say they need help now.
$23.
You have $23.
Yeah. I do not know what I'm going to do.
Democrats say the Trump administration could fund the entire program using tariff revenue currently allocated to pay for school lunches for children and nutrition programs.
This is an intentional, vicious choice that Donald Trump and Republicans are making.
But Republicans say using that money would pose an unacceptable risk to low-income children. Some states now stepping in to fill the gap. Maryland's governor announcing $62 million to help cover November SNAP benefits. Another major impact of the government shutdown, growing frustration at several major airports.
I was in the airport for 7 hours, so it was pretty bad.
13,000 air traffic controllers and more than 60,000 TSA agents are not getting paid, many now calling out sick. The wait time in this security line in Houston, 3 hours. Some experts say air safety is also a concern.
It's so difficult for an air traffic controller to remain 100% focused on what they're doing at work when they are being distracted by not knowing how they're going to put food on the table for their families.
On Capitol Hill, some lawmakers are reportedly discussing a bipartisan compromise to end the shutdown, which centers on Democrats' demands to extend Obamacare subsidies to prevent health insurance premiums from skyrocketing. One proposal would extend the Obamacare subsidies while also placing an income limit on who can qualify. The top Republican in the Senate not discussing details, but saying he's hopeful a deal can be reached this week. And one idea that does not appear to be gaining traction is eliminating the filibuster to reopen the government. Republicans say they don't have the votes. Mola.
Thanks, Nicole. New details about the alleged Halloween terror plot in Michigan. 2 men are accused of planning to target LGBTQ bars near Detroit. The FBI says the suspects, both 20 years old, appeared to be inspired by ISIS. They were allegedly caught buying weapons and practicing at gun ranges. Lawyers for at least one of the suspects say they were gamers who used provocative language but had no intent to kill anyone.
A new development in the search for 9-year-old Melody Buzzard from Santa Barbara County, California. She was last seen with her mother, Ashley, at a car rental business on October 7th. Both of them apparently wearing wigs. Police say they drove as far as Nebraska, and at some point, their California license plates were changed to New York plates.
The indications are that the license plate was switched to avoid detection. We don't have any other plausible reason for why Ashley would have switched the plates, so that seems the most reasonable in this case. Kind of parallel to the whole, why it appears that Melody is wearing a wig. We don't have a plausible explanation.
Now, Ashley Buzzard returned the car with its original plates back on, but Melody was not with her. Police say the mother has not been cooperative. Her family has claimed she has a history of mental health issues.
The listeria outbreak linked to recalled ready-to-eat pasta meals is growing, with at least 6 deaths now confirmed. The pasta products are from Nate's Fine Foods and were sold at Kroger, Walmart, Trader Joe's, and Albertsons in 18 states. We have the product names and numbers on our website, abcnews.com.
An unavoidable crash in Texas, a freight train slamming into this 18-wheeler that was stuck at the crossing while hauling a load of cars near San Antonio. No one was injured. The truck driver got a ticket for causing the wreck. Time now for your Election Day weather.
Good morning. Multiple storms slamming the Pacific Northwest this week, particularly strong one tonight. Heavy coastal rain, 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts from southern Oregon all the way into northern California. Even some high mountain snows in the northern Cascades and into the Rockies. We'll have up to 6 inches of rain from southern Oregon to northern California this week. A widespread 2 to 4 inches from Washington into northern California. The rest of the country, pretty quiet. Some warm temperatures in the southwest all the way into Florida in the southeast. Some nice temperatures in the upper Midwest. The northeast kind of remains on the seasonable side with multiple fronts. In fact, by this time next week, there could actually be a winter preview. That's your forecast. I'm ABC News meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
Coming up, big news about the future of the Denny's restaurant chain.
But first, crews worked for 11 hours to rescue a worker trapped in this building collapse in Rome.
And a party at this Airbnb that turned into a mass shooting. The 911 calls and how Airbnb is responding.
We're back with the partial collapse of a medieval tower that's being renovated not far from the Colosseum in Rome. Dust and debris blowing out of the structure. Several workers were rescued. One was hospitalized in critical condition. The last worker was brought out by firefighters 11 hours after being trapped. He was rushed to a hospital but died from his injuries. The cause of the collapse is still under investigation.
Back here in the U.S., we're now hearing the 911 calls as gunfire erupted inside a house party at a home listed on Airbnb.
Where's she at? Is the shooter still here? No.
Police in Bath Township, Ohio, releasing this body camera footage showing the chaotic scene after gunfire erupted at an Airbnb house party over the weekend. 9 people were injured, most of them teenagers.
Bath 911, what is the address of the emergency? Somebody is hit.
Now, questions are being raised over Airbnb's potential responsibility when large, unauthorized parties are held on its properties. Bath Township's police chief says short-term rentals are not allowed in the area and says they're working with Airbnb to determine how the booking was approved. The owner of the $1 million property lives out of state. It's the owner's second home.
She was unaware what was happening with this particular party. Obviously, she's very concerned about the implications of what happened here.
Airbnb saying unauthorized and disruptive gatherings are strictly prohibited on Airbnb, and our safety team acted immediately to remove the account of the individual who deliberately broke those rules by booking this stay. The company says it works to prevent incidents like this by screening bookings for party risks, adding extra safeguards around holidays like Halloween, and running 24-hour hotlines to report unauthorized gatherings. Meanwhile, police are asking for the public's help identifying the suspects.
Parents, please talk to your kids. The video on their phone might be the key piece of evidence we need.
2 shooting victims have been released from the hospital. The conditions of the others have not been released.
Breakfast chain Denny's is being bought by a group of investors. Now, the deal is valued at $620 million and will take the company private. Denny's has struggled with changing customer habits and competition from healthier breakfast options. It recently planned to close 150 restaurants. Now, coming up, new research on melatonin, what it's revealing about people who are sleep deprived.
Also ahead, formerly conjoined twins, given only a slim chance of ever walking again, prove the doubters wrong.
A lot of people said, well, you can be an actress and a mother too. I said, why not? As long as I am willing to make the commitment and put the energy that motherhood deserves, and it deserves a lot of work.
That's actress Diane Ladd, who would often share the screen with her real-life daughter Laura Dern, including in 1990's Wild at Heart and later in Rambling Rose. They made history as the first mother-daughter duo to be nominated for the Oscars for the same film in the same year. Diane Ladd was 89.
In medical news, new research into the long-term use of melatonin. A new study found people taking the popular sleep aid for at least 1 year had a 90% higher chance of heart failure compared to those who did not take the supplement. But it's important to note that the study did not prove melatonin caused higher risk. Experts have cited insomnia as a possible cause for heart failure, suggesting people who have trouble falling and staying asleep may already be at higher risk. And doctors say more research is needed.
Now to a family in Texas with a special reason to cheer. 2 sisters, given only a slim chance to walk after birth, are now thriving with the help of some amazing doctors and some very generous people in their community.
Since birth, Jimena and Scarlett have defied the odds. In 2016,
They were born conjoined at the pelvis. Their separation required a groundbreaking 12-hour separation surgery at a hospital in Corpus Christi, Texas. Doctors said they may never walk again. But now, nearly 10 years later, the girls are doing a lot more than walking. They're cheerleading in a statewide competition. Their routine tells the story of their lives, from the music to the final pose, a reference to their very beginnings. And their journey has been a long one. After the surgery, the family lived at a Ronald McDonald house for more than a year as the girls recovered, supported by strangers who quickly became their family.
I'm not gonna forget this because the people here always were there for us. When we cry, they cry with us. We never felt alone.
Their mom saying,
Ejemplo para los demás.
They're an example for children with other medical conditions, that if you want something, don't give up. From the operating room to the competition floor, they're still beating the odds. And we wouldn't bet against them.
Yeah, we're rooting for them. Incredible story. Coming up, People magazine's new Sexiest Man Alive.
Plus, the slow-speed police chase involving an emu. Time now to check the pulse, and we begin with a former president and a possible bad omen for Dallas Cowboys fans.
Yeah, George W. Bush with the coin toss before the Cowboys-Cardinals Monday Night Football game last night. He did the same thing at a game last season that the Cowboys lost. Now Bush, get this, was also heard on a ref's mic saying, "Good God, man," after shaking hands with Cardinals lineman Calais Campbell, who is huge, 6'8", 315 pounds, a well-deserved good God, man.
Then Bush and everyone else watched Cardinals backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett account for 3 touchdowns. The Cardinals won 27-17. Some Cowboy fans blame Bush, saying these coin tosses are bad luck. Next,
Cowboys fans.
Yeah. Next, a big reveal overnight. People magazine's 2025 Sexiest Man Alive.
And the honor goes to actor Jonathan Bailey. The 37-year-old played Prince Fiero in Wicked. Bailey calls the award completely absurd. Well, next up, proof that Americans are already getting into the Christmas spirit weeks before Thanksgiving.
On November 1st, Spotify says streams of holiday music surged by 250%. Streams of Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You were up 535%.
It's a classic.
And next, a low-speed chase in Ohio. Police trying to catch a runaway emu.
An emu, yeah. 2 deputies tried to catch the big bird with dog catcher poles. Knowing emus can be aggressive, they tried to keep their distance, but each time they got close, the bird would meander away, and they did this for 45 minutes until the owner showed up.
How about a high-speed chase? Well, more like a stampede when these dolphins went charging past a boat off San Diego. It was a megapod, possibly up to 7,000 of them. Checking more top stories, a new report says famine is spreading in the African nation of Sudan, with nearly 400,000 people starving. A major city there has been under siege by a paramilitary group which has cut off food and other supplies.
On this election day, President Trump is supporting Andrew Cuomo in the New York mayoral race. But overnight, Cuomo denied that it's an endorsement, saying Trump is only opposing frontrunner Zoran Mamdani.
The government shutdown is now tied for the longest in U.S. history. The Trump administration says it will use $4 billion in emergency funds to cover partial payments for the SNAP food benefit program this month, but it could take weeks to pay out.
Grateful Dead fans are mourning the loss of Donna Jean Godchaux Mackey. She was in the band for most of the 1970s after singing backup for Elvis, among others. She was 78 years old.
Today's weather, clear and warm for most of the country, but a new storm brings rain and mountain snow to the northwest starting tonight.
And finally, getting more people outdoors.
It's the aim of one nonprofit, and Danny News spoke to the founder.
At any point, you could find this group of gentlemen ice fishing in Minnesota or kayaking through mangroves in Florida.
We want to translate and give you access to everything that you might need to make nature feel like it's home again.
CJ Goulding here is the founder of a nonprofit that aims to provide black men across the country with more opportunities to visit the great outdoors. Its name, Boys in the Wood. A reference to the groundbreaking 1991 film Boys in the Hood, which comes in handy.
Now, the name is so good.
There are so many times where people will stop me if I'm wearing the shirt on the street and they're like, "Oh, I love that movie. Wait, that's not the movie. What is this about?
A former employee of the National Park Service, CJ started working on this project during the onset of the pandemic. At that time, he says he kept speaking with other black men who were understandably going through a lot.
I realized that I had enough access to resources and to the idea that nature was this healing and gathering space.
Fast forward about 5 years, and now Boys in the Wood has taken hundreds of men on retreats across the country, with hubs in cities from Seattle to Oakland to San Antonio to D.C. And here's the kicker. These trips are largely all expenses paid, thanks to grants like a $50,000 one from the Stanley 1913 Creators Fund. Stanley, as in...
I can't believe I'm running for a Stanley Cup. I got mine secured.
The Stanley Cup that took over the world last year.
It's been our goal to at least prove the concept of what happens when you remove barriers, how people take on healing, and how eagerly they step into it.
And by the way, there will actually be a short film coming out about them, guys, in early 2026. It's going to be called Resilience in the Redwoods.
Boys in the Wood, great name, right?
Great name. And that's your Good Morning America first look.
Have a great day.